There's now a level 3 Vulcan on the board, probably. We have unit drops coming in. Some air units, actually. And air units right now are good, but I don't necessarily want overlords into wasps that are starting to hit level 4 and melting points. I just go sell that. My opponent takes the Rhino and probably sells that. No, he uses it on the flank here. I go for Mech Rage and 2 more Worms. And since this Vulcan and Melter is probably too big, I'm now going in for something else. Yeah, that melting point is now level 2, gets range on it, gets another Melter and secures the other side, which makes sense. But there's now going to be 3 Worms here. And I do get some sticky oil. This thing is probably going to get eaten by the Worm. Or at least I hope so. The Worm does 23k damage, but this thing has 100,000 and change. So oil here in order to burn all of his chaff. It's kinda unfortunate that the crawlers in the middle distracted these worms, but maybe that's not even all too bad. The Rhino actually won against the Sandworm, but the Stormcrawler should have this. Right? Yes. Alright, all the chaff, burn, please. Now it does. The improved Sandworms get to work here, and that Melter is only level 1. And somehow this Sandworm here got into the middle. I don't even know what attracted it, probably crawlers in the middle. So now that Sandworm is starting to just splash a lot of units and eats a level 3. There's only this one Melter left and a tower debuff coming in now. That Sandworm has low HP, but it doesn't even need to tank anything. My Stormcrawlers alone would have been enough to finish this probably. Alright, got a win down. And my opponent can still sell this round. He didn't invest into anything other than a mobile beacon. He goes for a lightning storm. I think I storm back. But I'm not entirely sure. No, I redeploy. Oh yeah, I go gambling. Unfortunately, I gamble on the wrong side. I was hoping that my opponent would think that I go in on this side because it's still weaker. There's only level 2 Vulcan there. But I go in on this side and my opponent is throwing the storm here. And this is where I just kind of expect to get cleaned up despite having still over 3000 health and die. Because I'm expecting all of my Mustangs to die to this. I am putting all of my worms here. I'm getting all of the buffs. I'm trying to close it out now. Meanwhile, my opponent gets more melting points. Underground maintenance in order to regenerate health. Well, let's see what happens. So, no shields, high-level Mustangs, and a lightning strike on top. So far, I was about to say it has been quite not all that bad, and then it starts splashing them. Still, these Mustangs somehow are still alive, so it's not all bad. I have some Mustangs alive, but honestly, my biggest investment is in worms anyway. The worms with mech rage and underground maintenance are kinda just going in and killing everything. My tower is about to fall, but the same can be said for my opponent's tower, and right now no worm is targeted by anything big. My tower debuff is lasting a bit longer. That alone gives these units a bunch of time to kill that. And the worms are still getting in. The melters are not effective enough against them. I still win the round despite not having shielded against the lightning strike. The worms alone are basically enough to finish this, I guess. We have some phoenixes and an overlord. Both of these great DPS units against worms. He goes for the overlord and puts it on this side. It's now clear that I'm committing to this side. But I could, I guess, still use all of these worms and spawn some more and go in for the other side. My opponent goes for photon and mothership. I don't even know why, to be honest. Meanwhile, I'll just hit all of the buttons, upgrade my worms. I sold, I think, just some more crawlers. I have a redeploy that I'm not sure if I'm even going to use it at all. My opponent sold the wasps. I guess they don't do much against these level 5 Mustangs anymore. I throw a missile here so my worms don't get distracted. I repositioned something else. I'm not entirely sure what. Oh, yeah. I repositioned the fire badgers, I think. Like, into the middle a bit to block out chaff and tank the melters. And then it's time for the mobile beacon. And I guess health upgrade and a missile or something like that. What am I gonna get with the last amount of money that I have? I dropped some additional stuff. Alright, let's see the worms at work here. Phoenixes should be great against the overlords. This worm here, I guess I forgot and didn't mobile beacon it correctly. But they have Sandstorm now as well, which means they take less damage. And they just go in and they face tank these friggin' melters. At least for an amount of time. The melters are kinda useless for the most part, because there still is some chaff left despite the Vulcans being present. Those Phoenixes definitely plinking down some annoying wasps. And in the end, there is not enough left. The melters are not the correct choice here, at least without suck. Ironically, because they don't have suck, they do suck. And I just take the win here. But let me tell you, I already tried out, and it's not that hard to beat this. If this looks oppressive, the only reason why is because the opponent doesn't really know what to do against it. Alright, I know that I'm coming in on this side, so let me put my units to actual use. We don't need a second melter here. We kinda need all of our melters like here. And then we just go grab some 200 cost acid-on crawlers. We have these Phoenixes and they are doing a lot of DPS. And in order to tank some more, maybe just get that Vulcan. Then we of course buy all of these upgrades and go grab some oil. Because why not punish somebody for going Mustangs when you can just throw down oil? For crying out loud. Just do that. Get some crawlers here to trigger it reliably, and that also means there's acid at the front. And then let me just elite recruit 2 melters. I guess only 1 melter. I should have mathed that out better. I guess let's just in that case level this melter and level this melter. And sure, maybe level this Vulcan. Okay, I can't level the Vulcan. In that case, let's just get some anti-missile device here. And throw something on this side. Maybe in another effort to get these units here. Like, get the Stormcrawlers, I mean. Alright, that should burn all of the Mustangs. And there's instant acid at the front that is going to annihilate so many things. These Phoenixes are great DPS support. They don't need any time locking on before they kill worms. That Vulcan's going to tank forever, and the Wasps are tanking for my own Phoenixes. Quote-unquote my Phoenixes, I wanna say. And it's just an absolute freaking stomp of epic proportions. Look at the amount of damage that is rolling in here. 3k damage. I think it was not enough to kill me, but all of these moves were just, they felt like the epitome of unfair. And from this point on, I guess the only thing that I can do is go Photon Overlords and hope it's enough. But these charged shot Phoenixes doing almost 25k damage, and that is without any damage upgrade here even, they're just going to destroy everything. This is how you play against the worms. All you need to do is like crawler acid and have enough DPS behind it, and then they just evaporate and get something in the front to tank. Boom. Donezo. But if you're only ever playing the meta, and I know that LMCV is not always playing the meta, at least he wasn't when I last played him in a tournament. I think I also casted that game. But if you only play the meta, you kinda just get stomped because you think melters are a good idea on their own against sandworms. And then you get stomped. Well, in any case, I am very glad that I was able to win this match. But I definitely want to show that still, the correct build here is just go for fire. Burn all of these Mustangs and kill the worms with some heavy single target DPS. It is not hard. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. And until next time.